It started with a desire to reform domestic policies that would instead end with the collapse of the Soviet Union. Perestroika, or restructuring, was Mikhail Gorbachev's goal when he led the USSR.
We need more enterprise, more democracy, more organization and discipline. Then we will be able to bring perestroika up to full speed and give new impetus to developing socialism.
He realized that the ongoing zero-sum competition with the West was taking its toll on the Soviet Union's economy. Gorbachev sought to introduce a series of political and market reforms to revitalize the government. As part of those efforts, he pulled Russian troops out of Afghanistan in 1988 and mended ties with China, becoming the first Soviet leader in 30 years to visit Beijing in 1989 for a 4-day Sino-Soviet summit. But Gorbachev's biggest accomplishment might be his role in ending the Cold War with the West, as he pursued a series of arms treaties with the U.S., ultimately signing a bilateral treaty with Washington to reduce nuclear weapons.
I am optimistic that as the West works patiently together and increasingly cooperates with the Soviet Union, we can realize a lasting peace and transform the East-West relationship to one of enduring cooperation.
But his policy of glasnost, openness, and transparency unleashed forces Gorbachev was ill-prepared to deal with, leading to unrest in more than a dozen Soviet republics and the fall of the Iron Curtain in Eastern Europe.
Like all Soviet leaders, and dare I say like Russian leaders today, he saw the Soviet Union as synonymous with Russia. And he simply could not understand why nations wanted to be independent.
As the Soviet Union began to unravel, Gorbachev mostly chose not to use force to bring the republics back into the fold. With the exception of the Black Friday crackdown in Azerbaijan in January 1990 and the Soviet push to crush Lithuania's bid for independence in January 1991. In a tweet, the country's foreign minister said Lithuanians will not glorify Gorbachev. We will never forget the simple fact that his army murdered civilians to prolong his regime's occupation of our country. Still, many are remembering Gorbachev as a man who changed the face of the world and brought hope for peace among superpowers.